We start tonight with the Chatham County Grand Jury's decision not to consider charges in September's officer-involved shooting death. The grand jury said Officer David Janot used, quote, justifiable force in the shooting of Charles Smith.
We have team coverage from every angle tonight, including city officials and members of the community. We began with News 3's Andrew Davis, who was in the courtroom as the decision was announced. He is joining us now live.
No further criminal inquiry. Those are the words of a Chatham County grand jury. To make it simple for everybody out there, they say Officer David Janot should not face criminal charges. Now, in a 4-page presentment we told you about earlier today, we learned a lot more about what happened that day, including DNA evidence, which shows Charles Smith had a gun in his hand when he was shot, and his hands were in front of his body. Now, an autopsy showed Smith had cocaine, marijuana, and bath salts in his system when he was arrested, and he was shot 5 times that September day. Only one turned out to be the deadly shot. The other 4, according to testimony, would not have stopped him. Now, to try to answer any and all the questions that they had out there from the community, Meg Heap allowed audio recordings and written statements from witnesses in the community who did not respond to their subpoenas, but had their version of what happened to Charles Smith.
Is that we went to every extent we could to put everybody up here who had any information. Even witnesses who failed to show, we still put their evidence out there. The grand jury listened to all the evidence, all the tapes, and found that the most credible testimony was Officer Janot. They found that the physical evidence, the shell casings, the DNA, corroborated the story of what Officer Janot stated happened. And Officer Janot said he was the person who fired the shots because he had fear for another officer being harmed and himself.
Those witnesses, by the way, were the ones that Charles Smith's family lawyer said he wanted to testify, and they had important information out there. But Heap says of the 5 witnesses, only one responded to a subpoena to testify, 2 others didn't show up, and 2 others just entirely avoided that subpoena. Heap said, though, no matter what, though, all the written and audio testimony that she had was heard, so everyone could make a final decision. At Chatham County Courthouse, Andrew Davis, WSAV News 3.
Thank you, Andrew. Well, this is a case that has certainly caused a lot of controversy in the community, inciting several demonstrations and marches. But throughout it all, they have, for the most part, remained peaceful. Well, today, News 3's Ian Margot spoke with several community leaders. He joins us live with more on their reaction to the decision. Ian?
Russ, throughout those protests, people from both the community and the churches, like you said, have preached non-violence. And today they tell me while they're frustrated by the outcome, they're not really surprised. During a news conference today, Reverend Leonard Small and Miss Alicia Blakely spoke out and voiced their frustration with the decision. Reverend Small even questioned some of the evidence that was presented in this case, insisting Charles Smith had no gun during his arrest from the beginning. They also say they feel justice has and are afraid it will not be served. Even so, they say they filed a civil suit against both the county and the city.
Even though Charles wasn't the best guy in the world,
it was not
up to Officer Janot to be his judge, jury, and executioner on that day.
What happened today is happening across this country, and we are sick and tired of not getting justice.
Now, for people that are looking for a place to vent tonight here in Garden City, at the Kingdom Life Miracle Center, they're going to be having a push rally. They've actually delayed it until a little after 6, so any minute now they'll be starting to allow for some more people to come join them. Again, they're here to pray until something happens and do so peacefully. Live in Garden City, Ian Margle, WSAV News 3.
All right, thank you, Ian. Community leaders will also hold a meeting tomorrow on the Smith decision with a representative of the Justice Department. That meeting will take place at 6 p.m. at the Mount Carmel Baptist Church on Augusta Avenue.
Moments after the grand jury's decision was announced, city officials gathered to address the findings, including some that expressed concern about Metro Police procedures. News 3's crime and safety reporter Sheila Parker is live in West Savannah tonight with more.
Well, Tina, I am live on Augusta Avenue where Smith's arrest and shooting took place. If you look behind me, you can see flowers marking the spot where he was shot and died back on September 18th. Now, this is certainly a different scene out here this evening than it was back on September 18th. After Smith was taken into custody inside the U.S. food store just about a block from here, a crowd began to gather as officers searched Smith and placed him in the patrol car. Now, moments later, he was shot after kicking out the window of the patrol car. and pulling a gun officers had missed in their search. A crowd immediately gathered, questioning how Smith could have had a gun. The grand jury expressed that same concern and questioned transport procedures in a vehicle without cameras and window cages. Chief Lumpkin addressed those concerns today as the Neighborhood Association president called for continued calm.
We were looking actually at designating patrol vehicles to be the backup in particular precincts for transport. Our paddy wagons, or our wagons as they're called, they are so equipped, but patrol cars are not equipped. We will start looking at those types of issues. Each issue that was mentioned in the grand jury, we will be looking at them starting today. We've already started looking at the cost issues.
Well, the neighbors in West Savannah are calm. It's just the people that's not out of West Savannah, the people that come into West Savannah. And those people I just call agitators, to be frank with you.
And Chief Lumpkin says that officers across the nation are hurt each and every year missing weapons in searches. He says that the Metro Police Department will strive to do better. Reporting live from West Savannah, Sheila Parker, WSAV News 3.
All right, thank you, Sheila. We're joined now by WSAV crime expert Jerry Long, former major with the Savannah-Chatham Metro Police Department. She spent the afternoon in our newsroom digging into this decision with us.
And Jerry, tell us your impression of what we've heard from the grand jury today.
The fact that the decision was made based on this plethora of evidence, witnesses, is a tremendous statement as far as these 23 individuals who are totally separate and distinct from the law enforcement community. And all of that being within, minutes, this 2,500, 2,900 page document being out there and available to the public, I think is incredible and transparent.
What do you think of the grand jury's concerns about the way police handled this whole situation?
They pointed out some failures as it appeared to be, and they certainly had some questions about transporting a person from a scene to another. And Chief Lumpkin has been tasked, and Assistant Chief Tolbert have been tasked with reviewing that with the command staff. This entire incident will be reviewed again by command staff with the officers that are involved to come to a determination as far as policy and protocol, and if those were followed.
All right, Jerry, thanks for your insight as always.
Now, for the very latest details, including the grand jury's statement, go to WSAV.com and search Charles Smith ruling.